Hi everybody, this is Sheila. Welcome back to the Crochet Nurse channel. If you get headaches, this might be a solution for you. Today what we're going to create together is this ergonomically friendly crochet pillow. If you like this kind of content, please hit the subscription button below and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you'll be informed when I have upcoming videos. So, this pillow here, I designed this to be ergonomically friendly. As you can see, it has the cutout here in the front for the neck, and then it has a rise. And so we start down here at roughly 3 inches, and it comes up to 6-inch rise at the back end. The size of this pillow is roughly 11 by 11. And in the back, like I say, rises up to 6 inches. You can use this as the front. And you can see that nice slope down there for somebody who has headaches or they have stiff neck. This will support them there. And then this is the back, which has a smoother slope on it. So what you will need to create this with me is I used Premier Puzzle, and this is what I have left from the skein. Premier Puzzle comes in 325 yards, and I calculate it roughly took about 250 yards to complete this pillow. So you'll need the Premier Puzzle, whatever color you'd like, or any other 5-weight yarn will work. And then also I used a size J 6.0 millimeter hook. And then in addition to that, you will also, and these are optional, you might want to grab a few stitch markers to hold things in place as we move forward. And then the last thing that you're going to need is going to be some type of a fill of choice. I'm going to highly recommend that for the fill that you consider using a foam fill. You certainly can use polyfill, but I would strongly encourage a foam type of a fill because you're going to get a better pack and it's going to support the neck better. Okay, so grab your supplies and let's get to making this pillow. Let's begin. I have my puzzle yarn and my J hook. First thing we want to do is create a slip knot. Once you've created a slip knot, go ahead and insert your hook, and you're going to want to chain 33. Pull in and pull through a loop. 32 and 33. Now, once we've reached the 33rd, what we're going to do is we're actually going to flip the chain over, and we're going to work in the back hump of the chain. We're not going to work in the front, which is the standard way. We're actually going to work in the back. We are actually going to, on the sinket chain from the hook, we are going to put in a half double crochet from the sinket. So there's the first, there's the sinket. You're going to yarn over, go in, and once you get the first one in there, the rest of them are easy. Get in there, yarn over, pull through, and then pull through. And then once you get the first one, and now the rest of them will present themselves to you. So you're going to do a half double crochet all the way down the chain in the back loop, so that way we have a nice edge, and you'll see when we get to the rest of the pattern why that's important. But go all the way down the chain, half double crochet in each stitch, and when you end this you will have 32 half double crochets. And 32. Now let's start row 1. For row 1, what we're going to do is we are going to chain 1, and we're going to turn our work. We're going to yarn over, and we're going to put a half double crochet right back into that first stitch. Okay? And then what we're going to do is we're going to put a half double crochet in each stitch down the chain. At the end you'll have 32. Let's begin row 2. I'm going to chain 1, and we're going to turn our work. Now for rows 2, 3, and 4, you are going to do the same thing. You're actually going to half double crochet in the first stitch, and then half double crochet all the way down the line. And when you reach the end, you're going to chain 1, turn, and then repeat. Continue on to do that, and I will meet you back for row 5. And that completes row 4. And you notice that the stitching is pretty tight, and we do want that because at the end of this is panel 1, and we're going to attach panel 1 to panel 2, and we're going to be stuffing, so we want that tight. So let's move on to row 5. So you should have chained 1 at the end of row 4. We're going to go ahead and turn, and we're going to start the same way. We're actually going to half double crochet within that first stitch. Okay, so that's what we're going to do there. Now the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to half double crochet 2 together. So we're going to yarn over, go into the next stitch, pull up a loop, go into the next stitch after that, pull up a loop, and now we have 4 loops on our hook. Going to yarn over, and we're going to pull through all of them. And we're going to do that twice. So we just did a half double crochet 2 together here, and we're going to join the next 2 together as well. Yarn over, go in to the stitch, pull up a loop. You have 3 on your hook. Go into the 4th stitch, the next stitch, pull up a loop. You now have 4. Yarn over and pull through all of the loops to join them together. And that's what it'll look like. Now we are going to continue on down the chain with your half double crochet. When you get to the end of this row, you will have 30 stitches. Let's start row 6. The end of row 5, chain 1, turn your rope, half double crochet right back into that first stitch just like we have been doing, and then for the next 24 stitches put in a half double crochet. I just finished stitch 25, and so I am ready to half double crochet 2 together. There's stitch 26. I go in, pull up a loop. 27, go in, pull up a loop. I have 4. Yarn over and pull through all 4. I'm going to do the same thing for the next 2 stitches, which is 28 and 29. Go in, pull up a loop. Go in, pull up a loop. I have 4 on my hook. Yarn over, pull through them all. And then in the last stitch of that row, I am going to put in my half double crochet. You have to get it in there. It's a little bit tight, but you got to get it in there. All right. So let's move on to row 7. Row 7 is going to be an easy row. You're basically just repeating row 5. So you're going to chain 1 and you're going to turn. Okay. And then you're going to put a half double crochet right back into that first stitch. And then the next 2 stitches, we're going to do a half double crochet 2 together. And you're going to do that twice. So there's 1, get that in there. And now there's my second one. I'm going to grab that stitch, half double crochet 2 together, times 2. And now I'm going to half double crochet the rest of the way down the row, and when I complete row 7 I will have 26 stitches. Let's begin row 8. We're going to chain 1 and turn, and row 8 is going to be a repeat of row 6. In that we're going to yarn over, half double crochet in that first stitch, and then we're going to half double crochet down the line. And then this row, this time it's going to be 20 stitches. You're going to do a half double crochet for 20, and then you're going to be dealing with the last 5. So The last stitch in the row is going to be half double crochet. Number 2 and number 3 before the end are going to be half double crochet 2 together. Number 4 and number 5 are going to be half double crochet together. So same process. Like I say, this is going to be just like row 6. Continue on, half double crochet, and when you get to 5 stitches from the end, half double crochet times 2 together, and then the last stitch of the row will be a half double crochet. I will meet you at the end. And that completes row 8, and you should have 24 stitches. Let's move on to row 9, and this is going to be a repeat of row 5 in that you're going to chain 1, turn, half double crochet in that first stitch, and this is going to be the last one of those big reductions, and then you're going to half double crochet 2 together times 2 again. So these 2, and then these 2, and then half double crochet the rest of the way down the row. When you finish row 9, you will have 22 stitches. Alright, let's start row 10. I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to turn my row work, and you guys see we have a nice curve going on there. And we're going to follow our similar pattern. We're going to half double crochet back into that first stitch, and then we're going to half double crochet all the way down the line. The difference that's going to be in this row is that we are not going to do a half double crochet 2 together times 2. We are only going to do a half double crochet 2 together times 1. So you're going to half double crochet all the way down the line for the next 18 stitches, and then 3 before the end. So here's the last one, and these are the last 2, the number 2, number 3, half double crochet 2 together, and then the last one you'll put a half double crochet. And so you're going to move from 22 stitches down to 21 stitches. I'll meet you at the end. Row 11, chain 1 and turn, half double crochet back into that same stitch again. We're going to half double crochet the first 2 together there. That's one, pull up a loop, pull up a loop, and then for the remainder in the row we are going to half double crochet. And when you're finished with row 11, you will have 20 stitches. Let's start row 12. Chain 1 and turn. Now, chain row 12, 13, 14, and 15 are all going to be the same. So what that is going to be is a chain 1 like we just did, half double crochet in the first stitch, and then half double crochet all the way down the row. When you get to the end, chain 1, turn, and go back and do the same thing. So we're building some width here. So for 4 rows, it's just going to be half double crochet across, back and forth, for rows 12, 13, 14, 15, 4 rows, and I will meet you back on row 16. Let's start row 16. We are now actually going to start increasing. This is half of the first panel. Kind of looks like a boot at this point. So we are going to chain 1, and we are going to turn our work, and we are going to half double crochet back into that first stitch, and then we are going to half double crochet into the next 18 stitches across, and then the second stitch before the end we're going to put in 2 half double crochets into the same stitch. So we're going to half double crochet all the way across here. This is our final stitch, which is going to be stitch number 20 here. The stitch before this one, this is the final, the stitch before, instead of putting 1 half double crochet, we're going to put 2 2 half double crochets in here, and then here's going to be a final half double crochet. That will change your stitch count from this row from 20 to 21. Continue on across. Alright, I'm wrapping up row 16. That is the 19th stitch. I'm just getting ready to put my sink it half double crochet into that sink it to the last stitch. And then I'm going to put my final stitch in that end. Alright, that was row 16. Row 17, chain 1, and we're going to turn. And as before, half double crochet in that first stitch. Alright. And then in the next stitch right after that, we are going to put 2 half double crochets. And then we're going to put 1 half double crochet in each stitch all across the row. And what that's going to do is increase your count from 21 stitches to 22. I'll meet you at the end. Alright, so we're going to work on row 18. So from here, what we're going to be doing for the next 5 rows, what we're going to be doing is increasing 2 half double crochets in each row, because right now we're at 22 stitches at this row. By the time we get to 5 rows up, we want to be at 32 stitches, which is going to match what's on this side over here. Alright, and so for our increases, they're always going to be at the end where your curve is at, not the final stitch, but the 2 stitches before. So I'll show you what I mean as we do row 18, and then it's basically going to be repeating 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, but always doing the increases. As at the other side we did the decreases at this end, we are also going to be doing the increases at this end. So let's do 18 together. I'll show you what I mean. So we're at this side here. Let's start 18, chain 1, and we're going to turn. Alright, and so for this one, same thing. Half double crochet in that first stitch. And for this one, because we're on 18, we are going to half double crochet in the next 18 stitches to get across here. And then I'm going to get over to that end. And then once I've half double crocheted all the way across my 18 stitches, I want to get over there, which is what I just did, until I have the last 3 stitches of the row presenting themselves. There's 1, 2, 3. It's the last 3 of the row, and I'm on the curved side here. So when I get to the last 3 of the row, and this is the easy way to remember it, then you're going to put 2 half double crochets in each one of these 2. There. And then the next one, I'm going to put 2 half double crochets. And then in the final stitch of the row, just like on the decreases, you will put 1 half double crochets. And it's still tight in there. Alright, this was row 18, and so that would have put an increase. Now we're up to 24 stitches. I'm going to chain 1 and turn, and now I am on row 19. I'm going to half double crochet back into that same place again, and now I'm increasing. So the next 2 stitches, here and here, I'm going to put 2 half double crochets into each stitch. There's 2 there, and then there's 2 there, and this is row 19. And now I'm going to continue on down the row in row 19 and do half double crochets the rest of the way down this row. And when I get done with this row, I am going to have 26 half double crochet. And I'm going to continue this way until I have 32 in this row. So I'm going to go back across here, half double crochet to the end, chain 1, turn, come back, do half double crochets, This row with 19 ended in 26, and so I'm going to chain one, come back, half double crochet. When I get the third one from the end, and there's the end one, there's the sink it, there's the third one right there, I'm going to put 2 half double crochets here, 2 half double crochets here instead of 1, and in there. And that's going to bring me up to 28 on the next pass. The next row is going to bring me to 30, and then finally it's going to bring me to 32. So we are on 19 right now, row 19. So finish off row 19, do row 20, 21, and 22. And that will bring you up to 32 stitches, and then I will meet you back here. Alright, I just finished row 22, and yours should be kind of looking like this as well. Kind of looks like a bib in a way. And if you finish row 22 before you did your chain one and turning, you should be on the inside of the curve. That's where you should be. So let's start with row 23. And this one, when I show you 23, it's actually going to be 23, 24, 25, and 26. It's going to be 4 rows. And it's going to be super easy. So we're over here. We're going to chain one, and we are going to turn. And now we're going to go back across, and no increases and no decreases for the next 4 rows. The only thing we're going to do is half double crochet like we've been doing right in that first stitch, and then half double crochet the whole remainder of the row. So for the next 31 stitches, we're going to half double crochet all the way across. Okay? And then when we get to the end down here, chain one, we're going to turn and then go back across and do complete half double crochets all the way across. That's what you're going to do for the next 4 rows. This is row 23, which was what we're on right now that we just started, and continuing with the half double crochets. You're going to do that all the way across again. Chain one, then come back. You're going to do that for row 23, 24, 25, 26. You're just building this piece over here. Okay? So 32 half double crochets back and forth and for 4 rows, and then I will meet you back. Alright, that completes row 26. And that completes the base of what this will look like. So it should be symmetric at this point. So if you fold it in half, it should have your 2 sides. Okay, so where we ended, I'm going to move this up here so you can see it. Where we ended, your hook should be over here. I just have mine, have a stitch marker in. We're going to start talking about the sides. We're going to start doing our edging. This side, where your stitch marker is, up this side, is going to be what I'm going to refer to as side 1. The back up here is what I'm going to refer to as side 2. And over here is going to be side 3. Side 1 and side 3 are going to be worked 1 time. Side 2 in the back is going to be worked 3 times. And I'll show you what we're going to do. Let's begin. So if you finished off your row 26, you already should have chained 1, and where we're turning back to is we're going to go right down side 1. And so what we're going to do is single crochet right back into that first stitch, single crochet in the second stitch of the row, and then for the next 8 stitches we're going to do a front post single crochet. So looking at the top, we have our little V. We're not going to go into both of the little V's. We're only going to go into the front of the V. Grab that front and then treat it like a single crochet. And we're going to do that 8 times. And if you need to stop the video, that's perfectly okay to do so. You see how I'm grabbing just the front, single crochet. Let's see how many I have. I have, there's my 1, there's my 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I need 2 more. And then once I get to my 8th one is complete, for the next 21 stitches, I am going to do a front post half double crochet. So we did 2 single crochets here, one back in, and the second one. Then we did 8 front post single crochet, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and now we're going to do 21 front post half double crochet. So we're going to yarn over and go in and go down. Yarn over, make sure you're only grabbing that front post, and you have to kind of get up there and look at it. Make sure you're only grabbing that front post and pull through all 3. So it's just a half double crochet, except for you're just going to go through that front post. All right, continue that for the next 21 until you get down almost to the corner. I just finished my 21st front post half double crochet, and I have 1 stitch remaining. In that final stitch of the row, I am going to put in 2 stitches. The first stitches I'm going to put in is a front post half double crochet, and then I'm actually just going to put in a standard, jam it right in there, a standard half double crochet within that stitch. So I have 2 in that corner, and you can see when I do that, it kind of gives it a little bit of a turn. And because that's what we're going to do now, is we're going to go down side 2. So in that final stitch, front post half double crochet, and then a half double crochet, chain 1, and now we're going to go down side 2. For side 2, this is your back edging. What we want to do is put a single crochet, at least 1 single crochet in each row. Do the best you can to space out your single crochets. Remember, we have 26 rows. I'm going to strongly encourage you to do 30 stitches across the back, but if you do less, like if you do 26 or you do 28, whatever it is, you need to keep track, because you need to marry that same stitch count up with your Cinquet panel. Okay, so single crochets all the way along that back edge, and I'll meet you at the end. I'm at the end of side 2. I've got my single crochets across, and it looks something like that. Make sure that we're grabbing that stitch, the last stitch in side 3, and put that in there. Now what we're going to do is chain 1, and we're going to turn, flip our work back around, and now we're going to go across and put a single crochet in each stitch. So because we're building that back wall, so single crochet all the way back across, and when you get to the other side, you'll be meeting back up with side 1, and when you get over to side 1, you want to slip stitch into the last stitch of the last stitch of side 1, and I will meet you there. Alright, I just came back across side 2, and yours is probably already starting to stand up as well. There was my 30th stitch here, and now here is the last stitch of side 1. Let me move it away a little bit. Of side 1, I'm going to slip stitch into this to join it. Now I'm going to chain 1, and now we're going to do our third and final pass down side 2. Okay, so I've slip stitched, and I have chain 1, and I have turned. So what we're going to do now is back down those 30, because I said I was using 30. In the first 2 stitches, we are going to single crochet. There's 1, and there's 2. Like if you did 28 stitches, again, you'll have to modify. So for the first 2, you'll do a single crochet, and for me, the next 26 stitches, I'm going to do a front post single crochet. If you did less, then you obviously you're going to change that count. So front post single crochet for the ones in the middle, and then when you get down to the other end, the last 2 before the corner down there, instead of a front post single crochet, you're going to want to do a standard single crochet. Okay? Pretty simple. 2 single crochets to get it going, front post single crochet all throughout the middle, and then 2 single crochets at the end, and I will meet you at the end of the row. I'm at the end of side 2. I just finished 2 single crochets, and now we're ready to move on. I'm going to put a half double crochet right back into that same stitch that I just finished putting that single crochet, and that's going to help us move around the corner a little bit. And once we get through there, now we're ready to start on panel 3. Our side 3. We're going to turn, chain 1. We're going to go for our next stitch. This one's already counted for us, so there's my stitch here. We are going to do 22 stitches of front post half double crochet. There he is. See if I can get her in there. The first few in here are tight. Front post half double crochet. We're going to mirror what we did on side 1. And so we're going to do 22 stitches of front post half double crochet. Then we are going to do 8 stitches of front post single crochet, and then the final 2 stitches of the row are going to be single crochet. Okay, so I started that there, and you can see that's my corner. It's going to stand up. So again, half double crochet in the corner. Once you get past it, chain 1, and then 22 stitches of front post half double crochet will get you down to about here, and then do 8 stitches of front post single crochet, and then these final 2 stitches down here are just going to be single crochet. You will need to make 2 identical panels. Your first panel you can bind off. Your second panel you would want to not bind off, because once you're done with that, you have your single panel. This is my first panel here, and you can see when you're done with the panel that it actually has a nice curve. It stands up. So when you're finished with your second panel, come on back, and then we're going to put them together. All right, good luck, and I'll chat with you soon. All right, I got my 2 panels completed. There's panel 1, and I have that bounded off, and so that's all ready to go. And then I have my panel 2 side by side, and I've just put a stitch marker in the corner where I've stopped. So now we're going to put them together, and the way that we're going to do them is we're going to actually put them together right sides facing each other. And so we're actually going to do this kind of a thing. So for your first panel, you're going to want to flip it over, and so that way it's laying face down with the ridge up, and then move your second panel on top of it like this. And so it'll look kind of like this, and what we're going to do at this point, you have your ridges kind of pushing away from each other. From right here, what you're going to want to do is flatten everything out, because we're going to turn it on the inside out when we're done. Flatten everything out around, and this is where your stitch markers are going to come into play. Go ahead, flatten it out, line up your stitches, and then put a stitch marker in each of the corners and in the front to hold it in place. Remember, we have 32 stitches along the side over here, 30 along the back, and 32 along here. And so if you kept your stitches okay, it'll all line up. So put your stitch markers in. We are in the home stretch, and so at this point what we're going to do is slip stitch everything together. And so for those who chose to do stitch markers, you have them in your corners. What we're going to do is we're going to capture, insert your hook, and you're going to capture the back loop of the panel that's furthest away, and then the front loop of the top panel. Pull it through and do a slip stitch. And that's what you're going to do all the way around. Back loop of the bottom panel, the one that's closest to you, and then the front loop of the panel that's furthest away. And this will actually help it be a clean edge for you. And then it's just a matter of slip stitching all the way around. you're going to go down panels the side 3 and then over side 2 and then finally wrap up with side 1. Just a quick note, when you reach the corner, remember we put a couple extra stitches in these corners, so it'll be a little bit tight. But you do need to get that stitch in there. Just remove your stitch marker when you get to it. For those people who are old hat, you already know this. Remove that stitch marker and then kind of get it in there, because it's going to be tight, but you still want to get it in there. You want to get that stitch in the corner to make sure that those corners are nice and closed. So you're still going to be doing a slip stitch in the corner. You may be grabbing extra, and that's okay. And then we had put 2 in there before, and you're going to want to put 2 in the corner now as well, because remember, each of the corners have 2. And then turn and keep right on going around. All right, so continue on and get your 3 sides done, and then we're going to be ready for some stuffing. I finished my 3 sides. I put my stitch marker back in, and it kind of looks a little lumpy, and that's okay because we're going to flip it. So go ahead, once you've done your 3 sides, turn it inside out. Okay, so once you have it, and you can see now that it wants to poof up a little bit, which is perfect. And now you're just going to take your stuffing of choice. I have my stitch marker in. You're going to take your stuffing of choice and you're going to fill it. And then once you have it filled, I'm going to suggest to you that you're going to want to overfill this, because the back part of this is what's going to be you're holding your head up, and this edge right here, let me move it away. This right here is what it's going to be up against your neck, as I showed you in the beginning of this video. And for me, and once you get this stuffed, then you're going to go ahead and stitch together the front, and then you're done. For me, what I'm actually going to use is I'm going to use foam instead of polyfill, because it's going to give a better, this is actually memory foam, and it's going to give a better resistance. So when I'm laying my head on this, as you can see, it bounces back, and this is higher quality foam. And so that's what I'm going to be stuffing it with, and I'm going to overpack. Just to give you an idea, I've already cut this once, and this is not the correct size yet. But I'm going to overpack to where when I'm going in, not only am I going to pack this way, and I'm going to cut this off, but I'm going to overpack height-wise. And so the back of this is going to be taller than the front. So I'm going to cut this off, and I'm going to pack extra here. And you can see already that it's going to be a nice fill. All right, so that's the plan there. And I am ready to start slip stitching this guy closed. I'm going to show you the pack. So let me move this away a little bit so you can see. But you can see I have a nice curve, and so this is for my neck here in the front, and where I cut the foam off on the front is even with the front edge. And you can see when I pop inside that I have some pack in there just for that back half. So now I'm ready to slip stitch things closed. So from here it's pretty simple. All I'm going to do, it's going to be hard to see because it's so big, but I'm just going to shove it in, flip my pillow around, get my hook back out, take my hook off, or my stitch marker off, and then as I slip stitch it closed, I am just going to shove it in and then slip stitch these pieces together. And that's the nice thing about this. The memory foam, of course, will give, and stitch it closed, and then you have your pillow. All right, y'all. Have a fantastic day.